Clark Kent?
What happened? Is she okay?
Miss Lang had a full recovery. Something of a miracle.
Where is she? Can I see her?
Oh, she's already checked out. But she wanted me to give you this.
I was going to wait to talk to you in person. But I knew that if I looked into your eyes, I'd never be able to say it. We thought that we were meant to be together, Clark. But the truth is we were fooling ourselves. I need you. But the world needs you more. And as long as I'm in your life, I am holding you back. Please, don't come after me.
And I'm paralyzed. I'm paralyzed.
I love you.
'Cause you're perfect.
More than you will ever know.
I wonder if you'll notice that you changed my life. I wonder if you'll notice that you've changed my life.
I'm so sorry.
You're perfect.
Bart here with Tully Television, and today we're going to be getting into Smallville Season 7 review here, the rise and fall of Lex Luthor, basically. But I want to thank all of you for stopping by, liking, commenting, sharing, all of that beautiful YouTube stuff. I hope today is the day we earn that subscription. But let's get right into it. Of course, we're going to get into the cast real quick. We got Tom Welling as Clark / Kal-El, Michael Rosenbaum as Lex, Allison Mack as Chloe, Kristen Craig as Lana, John Glover as Lionel, Erica Durant as Lois, Aaron Ashmore as Jimmy Olsen, Justin Hartley as Green Arrow, Laura Vandervoot is Kira. She's the Supergirl. We do see a slight appearance of Sheriff Adams, even though she bit the big one in season 5, and we see a return of Pete. But basically, this season was a season that was very interesting in my opinion, because it just really was. Man, alright, first of all, Lex was Lex in this season, alright? He was doing everything he could to put himself in a position to save the world. That's what his mission was this season. When we first pick up in the beginning of this season, which the first episode of the season premiere was Bizarro, where we do see Kara's first appearance. She saves Lex. After the dam broke after the last season, and Bizarro was able to kind of escape the last wraith of the Phantom Zone, so to speak. Kira was able to save Lex. But it took him a while to realize that it was Kira that saved him. He just knew her as a mysterious woman. And throughout the season, he finds out that Kira, Clark's cousin, is the woman who saved him at the dam that day. And I think that at one point he may have felt an obligation to, help her and be there for her. But Alexa's mindset was too done after this season. Um, we have some notable episodes I want to get into. Of course, Bizarro, the season premiere, which I talked about a little bit. Episode 4, entitled "The Cure," guest starred Dean Cain. That's why I find this to be a notable episode. Of course, he was in The Adventures of Lois and Clark with Terry Hatcher many moons ago. Episode 7, The Wrath. Okay. Lana winds up getting Clark's powers. Of course, we know at this point she knows that Clark has powers. There was a snafu with some lightning and kryptonite around, and it transferred some of Clark's powers to Lana. And some of the funnier bits of the episode was that, like, when Clark and her was doing taxes, right? They was doing the taxes, okay? It was causing tremors throughout Smallville because Clark was able to, make sure those taxes were getting inputted into the paper, right? But what really was the turning point for me for this episode was it's very Lana-centric, and with her having powers and her disdain for Lex at this point, with every manipulative thing he did to her, with the pregnancy and all that, she almost took him out because she felt like it was her duty with these powers to rid the world of Lex. But of course, Clark and life just happens to not have that happen. We need plot armor until the end of the season, okay? Episode 8, entitled Blue. Now, I know the is right after this, episode 7. The reason why that's significant is that we come across blue kryptonite for the first time. Kira was able to bring her father to, Earth here. We do realize that throughout the season, Kryptonians were here. Throughout time, Clark was able to get blue kryptonite from a Kryptonian that was here living as a human. And he wanted up giving Clark his opinion on living as a human at the end of this episode, because that was Clark's big thing, of living like a human or fulfilling his destiny as the protector of Earth, so to speak. And we also, in this episode, get to meet his mother. Yes, his mother. I just want to make sure. His mother. And the mother, the actress, was the original Supergirl from the late 70s or early 80s, the Supergirl movie. The actress who played there, Helen Slater, she was Clark's mother. So pretty cool there, in-universe type of thing, or multiverse, so to speak, right? In this universe, she was Clark's mother. In another universe, she was Clark's cousin. they kind of did that here and there throughout, like with Annette O'Toole. She was a character before in one of the Superman movies, and she was Clark's human mother on Earth. I like the little things like that. Episode 9, 7, 8, 9, right? Entitled Gemini. We come across the fact that Lex is cloning, okay? Now, the little thing I didn't mention throughout here, because I haven't mentioned much about Lois so far with anything she was doing in this season. She's coming into her own as a reporter for the Daily Planet, right? And there's a new editor-in-chief. And the new editor-in-chief happens to be Julian, Lex's little brother who passed away. But how? Through cloning, okay? What happens in this episode is that Lois gets a call or text saying that Chloe has a bomb attached to her. And Chloe doesn't know this, but it's to get Lex to admit that he's been cloning people and everything. And the person behind this is yet another clone of Julian. Lex says that he did this because he wanted to have his little brother around still, but the person, Julian, just basically calls Lex, selfish and everything. He winds up going to Lionel and telling him. And this is when you know really Lex is Lex in this season, okay? Lex, you could see the deterioration of Lex as a character reaching its pinnacle in this season. Because in this particular season, even though, and especially in Gemini, this episode, he arranges for his cloned brother to die. You know what I mean? Like, he set his clone brother up to, he set up a hit, because he didn't want the news getting out or whatever, especially with Lionel. And now Julian getting closer, he was scared and took Julian out. And that's when you kind of really were like, geez Louise, bro. I don't want Lex as my brother if he's doing stuff like that. Here's one of my favorite episodes of the year, because I really forgot since he left how much I actually missed him. Pete returns, okay, in an episode called Hero in episode 13, where we see Pete is that he's been a roadie for this band, okay? And he's at this gig, and he happens to be, because of where they're having the shows, and it being an abandoned factory or what have you, there's been pallets of gum there, okay, chewing gum. And somehow it became infused or infected by kryptonite. And so when Pete would eat this, chew this gum, it would imbue him with super human abilities. Gave him the ability to stretch, like Reed Richards, okay? And he kind of understood why it was so important to keep a secret identity so people around you don't get hurt. People who are dealing with the same thing that you're dealing with doesn't get hurt either, right? By using you as a public example of what we're going to do to these other people, right? And he winds up infecting the Daily Planet's servers. That was another thing that happened this year. Lex Luthor had purchased the Daily Planet, and he was being a real. It was mainly to keep an eye on Chloe's files and everything, and Pete infected the servers, so he didn't have any real access to Chloe's stuff. He learns that Chloe also is a meteor infected person. She does have healing powers. We learned that last season. And he winds up losing his powers. Him and Clark kind of, reminisce a little bit, play some basketball like they used to. But Pete kind of admits that, like, it takes a lot to have powers and to try to be a hero for people and stuff. Um, Now, the last part of this month or so of the show of this season was this group called Veritas, which had Lionel, Dr. Swan, the Queens, Oliver's parents, and stuff like that. Um, and they were trying to protect, they knew that a traveler was coming and they needed to protect them because there was a way to make the traveler do what you wanted to do, and it required a device with two keys and some sort of other device that you had a thing that you had to find. And then if you wound up going to the fortress, this is how it wound up coming to play. You're able to control Clark, okay, and Brainiac winds up attacking Lana and putting her into a coma. And and then he has a real thing about getting Kira, and they wind up. Kyra winds up going to the past with him, and that sets up this episode I'm about to talk about now, Apocalypse, which is a timeline where Clark doesn't exist. Jor-El wanted to show Clark what would happen if he didn't fulfill his destiny, and it winded up being that Fine as Brainiac. Brainiac is fine, sorry. Got Lex to the presidency of the United States just to create a world ending event with nuclear war. And it made Clark really realize, like, oh man, I gotta really do what I need to do. Before I talk about the season finale, I want to talk about episodes. I also want to just mention one thing. We did get an appearance of Black Canary in this season, which brought in the Green Arrow, and she winds up joining the League, so to speak, by the end of that particular episode. So I thought that was pretty cool. I think we're getting Justin Hartley more in season 8. But a little appearance here in this season. I wanted to talk about episode 16 real quick, entitled Descent. This is really now at some point where Lex is gone. At one point during the season, Clark had to go into Lex's mind to find some information to save Kira and Lex himself. And we find out that there's a little representation of good left in Lex in the form of him as a child. All right, and ever since that episode to this episode 16, we would see this young actor representing Lex's good side and trying to talk to Lex and being like, hey, don't do that, you're a good guy. And in this episode, Lex not only he takes his father out. He pushes his father out of LexCorp, Luthor, whatever, and kills his dad. And then later on near the end winds up killing his good half. And this is when Lex is Lexing, though, right? This is when Lex Luthor has entered the chat. Episode 20, season finale. We get the big confrontation between Lex and Clark. There's no more hiding anything. There's no more lying about anything. He's in the Fortress of Solitude with the device that he's been building all year for to kill the Traveler. In Lex's mind, he's saving the world by killing Clark and himself, and allowing the Fortress of Solitude to be blown to smithereens with them in it. Lex's thoughts are that he's killing Clark and himself in this moment, and that's it. The Fortress of Solitude is blown to smithereens, leaving us wondering who survives. Now, I will say, also in this episode, Lana comes to after Brainiac's defeat. Brainiac is defeated. He's also atomized by Clark. Lana recovers and leaves, and had left a video for Clark saying, "Don't come looking for me. The world needs you more than I do." So she leaves. That leaves Lois hugging Clark to comfort him. We know where that's going. And yeah, so by the time season 8 starts, Alana is gone and Lex is gone. Lex is dead. Lex is dead. He's not coming back. There is one more episode in which he comes back, but that's not for a while. And to kind of just tie up some little loose ends on his part, as his character needs to tighten some stuff up with the story, I guess. But that's season 7. I did like this season, but I'm not sure if I liked it as much as I did seasons 5 and 6. We only got 3 more seasons to go, and this is when it's really going to start feeling like it's not going to be the same series with no more Lex, no more Lana. But we do get Clark's journey closer to Superman. We're going to be getting into some Doomsday and some other stuff coming up soon. But yeah, if I was to give this season an overall rating between acting, the way it was filmed, CGI, the storyline, I would give this particular season a 7. Because there were some episodes where I'm like, I just didn't know where we were going or why we were focusing on some stuff. Like here's Dad, that even though Blue was in the introduction of Blue Kryptonite, I'm just not sure why we're throwing in some of Clark's uncle in this for a few episodes. But in an overall sense, I think that this season was a 7 out of 10. You can't really go wrong with Michael Rosenbaum as Lex, and he really shined through this season. His swan song, so to speak, of the show. And it's going to be weird not seeing him in the next 3 seasons, so to speak. But let me know down below what you think of season 7 of Smallville. Are there guest appearances, episodes, or plots that I didn't touch on that you think were a little bit more important that I didn't put emphasis on? Let me know down below. But until next time, guys, peace, snookums.